Morning everyone, welcome to the Bankside Stadium today. For today's press conference we've got Chairman Lee Pomlett, Technical Director Jamie Fullerton and new Head Coach Matthew Taylor. We'll start with Rob from WM and then Liam and then Josh. You'll all get the opportunity to ask questions. Just before I just say who you're directing your questions to, and we're ready to get underway.
Okay. Matt, first of all, welcome to Walsall. Just a few thoughts on joining the club from your point of view, first of all.
Thank you. Really excited, obviously, with being given this opportunity. Feel that it's the right time. I feel that it's the right football club with the right people, more importantly. So, no, I'm very excited and can't wait to get going.
And what's your vision, at least in the short term here, would you say?
I think what I've spoken about it previously, and look, I'm under no illusions that it comes down to winning football matches, and that's ultimately what we need to do as a group of people and as a group of staff. But trying to establish a football team that the fans can be proud of, a football team that they can resonate with. And I've said it previously, it's their team, the fans. It'd be great to have them back as well. But, you know, in the short term, winning games.
And talk us through the process of how you arrived here, Matt.
I drove today.
Right.
So, sorry. No, I spoke with Jamie first and then met with the chairman alongside with Jamie and Steph, had long conversations and found it really fruitful conversations, and met again, lots of toing and froing in terms of ideas and what we're talking about. But the thing that struck me was the honesty from the people at this football club, the chairman with Jamie and Steph, and that's massively important to me as a person, as a core value of mine. So no, really, when you speak to people for a long time and then you don't realise how long it is, I think you understand that there's a relationship that can be built there, and that's obviously something that I'm keen to do. Build a relationship with the chairman, with Jamie and with everybody that is at the football club. I think that's vitally important to do that, to be transparent and open and honest. The conversations were easy, and then it was a case of taking the next steps and looking maybe at how it would work.
Thank you for now. Lee, if I could come to you, why Matthew Taylor? Why have you gone for Matt?
Well, I think when we talk through the process of how we arrived at Matt, I think, you know, when you lose a manager or and you're looking for a new one, you can guarantee you're going to get 50 and 100 applicants for the job. I didn't want to go through that process. I said to, I sat with Jamie and together we wrote a sort of profile of what we're looking for. And I said to Jamie, go out and select somebody. I am not going to go through an interviewing process. I've done that before. I can guarantee you 50 of who will apply. And I'm not going through the process. I want you to go and select the new head coach for Walsall. He came back with a list of 2 or 3 names, and I said to Jamie, who's the best one on the list from your perspective? He said, Matt Taylor. I said, okay, I want to meet him. So when Matt talked about a long conversation, it was 5 hours we spent talking. And after the 5 hours, we had 2 meetings, one in Lichfield and one in Oxford. It became pretty obvious to me that he absolutely met the profile that we'd put together for the next head coach of Walsall. We wanted somebody who was young, ambitious, with a success record behind him, who people would want to come and play for. And I was determined not to have a repeat of this season, which has been a difficult season. And so after, it was 5 hours of conversation, which was easy. It could have been 9 hours or 10 hours, we'd still be there now. It became a pretty easy selection process for me to agree with Jamie that Matt was the right guy for Walsall Football Club at this point.
And broadly speaking, what is his brief?
His brief is to, not unsurprisingly, get us back into League One. I'm looking for a significant improvement on last year, this year. But I'm looking for a real push for promotion. I think we're capable of doing that. We should be doing that. And I think a combination of Matt and Neil over there, the new number 2, the head coach for the first team coach, that combination is what I'm looking for, coupled with Jamie. So you've got Jamie, you've got Matt, and you've got Neil. That combination just seems to me to be absolutely right for us as we develop this football club. And it's just different. I didn't want a continuation of the same. I wanted to give the football club something different, and frankly, a bit of a slap in from a football perspective. We need to move the agenda on and move it on pretty quickly. So I'm looking for promotion, but I am at the minimum is looking for significant improvement on last year.
Matt, clearly you're happy with that, otherwise you wouldn't be here.
When you so to make the decision to leave Tottenham, I wouldn't want to leave somewhere or leave Tottenham and leave for another position within football where there's not ambition, and that ambition is probably one of the key factors, because I know as a player and I know as a coach that under pressure you tend to knuckle down and work harder, and that all I want to do is get this football club back to a position where the chairman wants it, Jamie wants it, and the fans want it. But it's imperative that we're open and honest in terms of how we get there. And I think that that's something that we're going to try and get across to the fans, that we'll give them as much information as we possibly can. But most definitely, I wouldn't have come here had the chairman and the board of directors had the vision for the football club that they do.
And Jamie, if I could come to you finally for now, your role in this process has been what, broadly speaking?
Well, I think the chairman framed it quite well. We sat down, I bored the life out of him, dragging out information from him on what he's seen as the most important elements of the next head coach at Walsall, and that ranged from personality and character, which are really important if we're going to be successful, along with competencies and what the expectation and demand would be upon the head coach. So armed with that detailed profile, I went to market, and as I said in previous, Matt was a standout candidate in all aspects, and I think what Matt's alluded to is there's synergy, there's an agreement, and there's real alignment and direction of travel, and a realistic view where the vision of the club, the ambition of the club is matched by Matt's own personal vision and plan.
And of course your relationship with him is key. You're arguably a conduit between the playing side and the board and leader chairman.
Very much. I think sometimes there's confusion over what this role is, in particular when you've got a classic, if you want to call it that, background in playing, coaching and managing, but you're a support. you're a support. You add balance and try to be objective and remove that emotion because you're not at the coalface or the brunt of it, so to speak. And hopefully from that, and Matt said to you, you know, long conversations where on a Saturday night at 10:20, I'm on the phone to him, which again, when you're married with 2 kids, can cause you problems at home. So I've told Matt he better start saving up for my divorce, never mind his own. But guys, if we want to be successful and drive the club forward, which it's infectious at this football club. I touched on it with the chairman when I joined. And it's similar really because Matt's coming from a secure Premier League job, just like myself. But the fact that both of us, in recent terms, having met the chairman, have decided to be part of what's going to happen at Walsall, really truly reflects what we believe happens behind the scenes at the club. And I think if we can mirror, reflect and match that on the pitch, then it'll be a happy, successful time for us.
Okay, that's great for me, gentlemen. Thank you. Thanks very much.
If I could start with the new head coach, the biggest question probably of the day, would you prefer Matthew, Matt or Matty?
Not Matty.
Matt it is. You touched on it a little bit there with your assistant Neil McDonald. How important is that relationship and his experience going to be for you?
Massively. Neil is somebody that I've had the pleasure to play for when he was assistant to Sam at West Ham. Thoroughly enjoyed working with him on a daily basis as a player, and then fortunate enough to work with him as a coach when I was still playing but coaching at Swindon. So I know how Neil works. I know the strengths that he has would probably marry up with what my weaknesses are, and that's important for me. We've got a relationship where we can be honest with each other. He'll challenge me, I'm sure I'll challenge him. And I think what you've got to remember, it's about the collective we, not I. And that's what's important to me, because there will be situations that I haven't been through, whereas Neil has. There will be conversations that I haven't had, whereas I can lean on Neil. And I think that's vitally important. So yeah, I was really, really happy when Neil agreed to come and help me out and to work with me and be part of, hopefully, what is going to be a successful team here.
You had a brilliant playing career as well. Does that come into it at all? Is that experience going to be helpful?
I think what you do when you're a player is sometimes, and it's not until you finish that you look back on certain managers and coaches that you played for and probably take bits and pieces from each and every one. But the playing side of it is now relatively unimportant for me, because it's now the next stage of my football journey. And that's, to be given the opportunity to be head coach at this